Hello, everybody, and welcome to IntyCenter 1957, our first recording of the year. We'll start with two sets of games. We'll recap all 12 games for you here, and we will start right into it with Bob Feller and Jesse Tannehill giving us a pretty phenomenal pitching duel in Game 2 of the Amazings and Shaq series. Feller went 8 innings. He gave up 2 runs on just 3 hits, and he struck out 7. A throwing error helped shoeless Joe Jackson score the first run of the game in the second inning. And after Amazings used a double, a walk, a sac bunt, and a sac fly to tie the game at one in the top of the sixth, Ross Barnes gets an RBI single in the bottom of the sixth. That puts a Shack of their own back on top. We'd stay tied at 1 heading into the ninth, and Artie Wilson would get a leadoff pinch hit reach on error to open the inning. They'd move to third on a Ty Cobb 1-out single. Cobb would take second on a stolen base, but after a Joe Morgan ground out, Amazings were down to their last out. Shaq, as Jimmy Dugan, would go to Dazzy Vance to get the final out, and Wade Boggs would make that final out with a ground out to short. Jesse Tannehill and Shaq get the win 2-1. Now, after getting absolutely nothing off Nolan Ryan in the season opener, performance enhancers got 2 in the first inning as Hack Wilson hit a 2-run homer off Madison Bumgarner. Jacob deGrom would give them 8 2/3 innings, giving up 1 run on 5 hits, and the enhancers would take Game 2 5-1. Bill Foster would have every city bandwagoners wishing they were in any city but the one he was pitching in. Foster tossed a complete game, giving up 1 run on 5 hits. He struck out 6 and walked just 1. Lou Boudreau, Tommy Holmes, and King Kelly each drove in a run, and Family Madrigal took this one 3-1. For the first 5 innings, it looked like the here we go again meme for the Demon Bags. They fell behind 2-0 on a Heavy Johnson RBI triple in the first and an Edgar Martinez solo homer that led off the second. Dave Brown was absolutely cruising for the Pilots, but in the bottom of the sixth, after the first 2 batters were retired, Ichiro drew a leadoff walk to get a rally going. Mike Trout also walked. Cleveland's own had an infield single that loaded the bases and bag-and-a-half single to bring in 2 runs and tie the game. Al Rosen singled to score another and put the D-bags on top before Cal Ripken was retired to end the inning. The D-bags added 2 more in the seventh, and an Al Rosen solo homer in the ninth made it 6-3. That would be the final score as Satchel Paige got the complete game victory. The story of the second game between Let's Play 2 and Sithy can be summed up in 2 words or 1 name: Pete Alexander. Alexander was simply magnificent, going the distance, giving up 1 run, that being a solo homer by George Sisler, on 6 hits while striking out 6. Jose Ramirez backed Alexander with a 2-run homer. Home run pitch, bro. Huey Jennings drove in a run, and City took this one 3-1. Of note, Matt LaJoie left the game with an injury in the 4th inning, holding his arm after making what looked like a routine throw. City fans will be holding on and trying to see what happens with that one, I'm sure waiting with bated breath. Now, as we move to the final day of games for the opening series, we start with a department of exactly what we expected, with 10 homers hit in the game between the Zodiac Guardians and the Performance Enhancers. Honus Wagner hit a pair for the Enhancers. Aaron Judge hit a pair for the Guardians. Also homering in this one, Hack Wilson, Todd Helton, and Yaz for the Enhancers, and Derek Jeter, who sucks, Adrian Beltre, and Sammy Sosa for the Guards. Enhancers wasted no time getting to it with a Wagner 2-run bomb, a Helton solo shot, and a Wilson 3-run homer in the first. The Guardians did answer with a Jeter solo shot and a Judge 2-run homer in the bottom of the inning. But the Enhancers led 6-3 after 1, and in the end, it was the Giants 14, the Broncos 10. The Enhancers 14, the Guardians 10. A forgettable day for both starters. Cy Young got chased in the second inning, and Guy Hecker got chased in the third. Doubles from Frankie Frisch and Tris Speaker each scored a run for Madrigal at the bottom of the third. Those were the only runs given up by J.R. Richard, but they were the only runs Madrigal would need in this one. Johnny Wright gave up 4 hits in a scoreless 5 2/3 inning of work, and Al Orth got the 10-out save. You heard me right, 10-out save, giving up just 2 hits the rest of the way. We had a doubleheader in Fairbanks, and while you'd be tempted to think the story was Tom Kelly leaving Bob Gibson in 1 inning too long, Gibson did get hit for 3 runs in the 8th before getting pulled with 2 outs. The real story in this one, Jose Rio and Willie Hernandez, as they allowed just 1 run in the game and shut down the Gales offense. Chris Hoyles and Wilson Reedus each had a pair of runs batted in, and the throws took the day cap 7-1. Nightcap, though, very different story, as Ray Brown made a strong argument to go back to abolishing the designated hitter. Brown tossed 9 innings, giving up 3 runs on 9 hits. And at the plate, he drove in 2 runs. Victor Martinez also drove in a pair of runs. Christian Yelich had 4 hits, and the Gales took this one to split the doubleheader. Final score in the nightcap, 5-3. Amazing's win count now at 1. Amazing's trumpet count also at 1. Coincidence? You figure it out. After Doc Gooden tossed 6 2/3 scoreless innings to open the game, allowing just 3 hits, John Smoltz kept a shack of their run off the board through the 8th, and then Edwin Diaz tossed a 1-2-3 ninth, striking out Mickey Cochrane to end it. Burying the lead about this Amazing's first win of the year being a thrilling 1-0 victory. The only run was a Jimmy Fox solo homer that led off the second. Lefty Grove with just that blemish, definitely the hard luck loser. Now, in their 3-game series, the losing team combined to score a single run for Scythia in Let's Play 2. Mel Ott and Roy Campanella each homered. That back to Babe Ruth complete game shutout. He tossed 136 pitches and scattered 5 hits. Scythia take the rubber match 2-1 over Let's Play 2. Sorry, Scythia took the rubber match the rubber match to take the series 2-1. The final score of the game, however, was not 2-1. The final score of the game was 4-0. First Inty error on IntyCenter 1957. And after that error, we're going to end our first IntyCenter of the season with the best game of the young season so far. We're going to start, of course, with the pitching matchup between the Stone Temple Seattle Pilots and the San Francisco 6 Diamondbacks of Chinatown. Charlie Bender for the Pilots was just sensational. He did all he could to put his team in a position to win the game, stringing together 9 zeros on the scoreboard as he allowed 7 hits in those 9 innings. Grasshopper Jim for the Diamondbacks, he would only put up 7 zeros of his own. After Whitney walked Joe Kelly with 2 outs in the 8th, Wang Chi went to Charlie Sweeney out of the pen, and Sweeney didn't even need to retire Roy Parnell to end the inning as Charles Johnson threw out Kelly trying to steal second. Still scoreless in the 9th, Sweeney would have to face Parnell, and he'd give up a leadoff single. Barry Bonds would follow with the fielder's choice, and he'd get replaced on the base pass by pinch runner Bill Lang. Heavy Johnson would come up in single. Lang would not only go first to third, he'd get waved to try to score, but the throw from Ken Griffey Jr. was on the money, and Lang was out at the plate. So if you're counting at home, 2 of Wang's much maligned for their offense keepers, Johnson and Griffey, threw out what probably would have been the winning run in this game and kept the game scoreless. Sweeney would strike out Mookie Betts to end the inning with Johnson on second. And since you already know Bender put up 9 zeros, you know that we're heading to the 10th inning, still looking for the first run of the game. Wang would stick with Sweeney, but Jason Kendall, note that, would now be in as the new catcher. Sweeney would strike out Edgar Martinez and Willie Mays to open the inning, but he'd issue a 2-out walk to Bill Dickey. John Montgomery Ward would pinch run for Dickey, and Kendall would throw him out to end the inning. Another inning ended on a throw out at second from a caught stealing. Now, Tom Selleck is Magnum PI. He would stick with Bender in the 10th, but Bender would only get to toss 1 pitch to new catcher Jocko Milligan because Mike Trout would send that first pitch at the bottom of the 10th, 431 feet, dramatically scoring the only and winning run of the game. The Diamondbacks take it 1-0 in 10 innings. That'll do it this week on IntyCenter. We'll see you next time for another whip around 1957, the Deuce.